Howdy folks, here we are in GarageBand iOS, and y'all tuned in to learn how to do a quick little master and a gain stage, a little mix. And yeah, GarageBand is pretty cool. I've been using my iPad a lot more to create music, just the mobility and the innovation of all the cool apps, the AV3s, and yeah, it's really fun. And I'm coming from more desktop. I'm fluent with like Ableton and Bitwig and Logic, but I really like this iOS vibe, and I've been using my iPad a lot more to create music, so hence here we are in GarageBand. And most DAWs have a master bus that you can mix into and kind of sculpt your mix, but GarageBand doesn't. So there's a little workaround here where you can just basically click here, merge, and you can just merge all your tracks into one track. And any tracks that you're not using, you should delete. Like if it's a muted track, it'll still get merged. So that's like the premise of it. If this is all you need to know, all you need to do is merge your tracks, and then you can use the plugins again to do the master. But I'll show you how I go through everything and kind of prep it before I do the merge. So that's how that goes. So I have this little track. I made on the plane, and whatever, it's just a little vibe. What you do here is open up the plugins in EQ, and you can just kind of go through. What I like to use is this compressor, right? And there's a gain, so gain staging, here you are. And it's a built-in compressor, and so it works good, and it's like solid and stable, and you can just go through and just kind of and so you can see as you click through the tracks, the compressor window will stay open. And what you're doing with this gain, the premise is most people are mixing everything too hot, right? And as you can see, my levels are looking pretty good. I'm not mixing hot, but most people are. And the gain will actually bring down the waveform. So this waveform you see has a lot of headroom, right? Because it's just my piano track. So the gain is going to make your waveform a little smaller and give you headroom so that your waveform is not peaking. It's not past the ceiling, and you'll see like a spike sometimes in some of the waveforms where it peaks, and then it'll do digital distortion, which doesn't sound good, unlike analog distortion. So, and as opposed to using the faders, which just basically it's just like the gatekeeper to the level. So basically it's just how much of the signal is being let through is what the fader is going to do, right? But when you use the gain, it actually will bring down the waveform, and so that'll give you some more headroom. So that's just a really basic, and I'm not going so deep into it. So I hope that made sense. And yeah, I think this little compressor here, you just open it up, and I think it's a real handy way to do it. And it's kind of get your levels where you want them. So that's the first thing I do. The next thing I do is go into GarageBand. Has a nice little EQ here. So this visual EQ obviously is pretty cool, and you can even make it full screen. so that's how I'm EQing these drums here, right? And so one of the, I guess the most important thing is to the drums and the EQ, the drums and the bass. Sorry. So you can see this is how I have my bass track EQ'd, and so I'm letting more of the low tones, the bass is the deeper sub frequencies are I'm leaving with the upright bass, and then the drums, these are more snappy, kind of a more snappy drum. The transient of the kick you see is like right at 100. So I EQ'd out some of that low end of the kick, basically, because this is like these drums are being mixed into this master bus, so that it's not competing. So it's just, basic mastering 101 here, mixing 101. Sorry. So that's just kind of go through with this visual EQ, and you can. You just go through each one, and so those would be like the two. I mean, obviously this is it's a decent compressor here, and you can play around with the compressor and the threshold and the ratio and the attack and all that stuff. You can watch a tutorial about how compressors work if you're not sure. But yeah, just with the built-in native stuff to GarageBand, you can do a pretty nice little mix and then get it ready to gain stage. So yeah, I'm impressed. One of the things I do want to recommend is to go here into Settings, Advanced, and make sure you have this 24-bit audio resolution selected. It just makes your file a little bigger, more information in it. So it'll be like a larger file and have more information. So now that we kind of got our mix to a decent place, you're just gonna click here. It doesn't matter which track, and you just click Merge. And so select all these and the effects track 2, and then just click Merge, and it'll duplicate your track. And this is an iPad 2017 iPad Pro 2017. Still has a home button, headphone jack. I can't really. I don't know about these iPads without a headphone jack, but yeah. So this is working pretty good. I did have. I'm not up to date on the latest iOS 15. I'm still on like 13.5, and I did have some problems in Cubasis, and that's pretty much how I got to using GarageBand more. So here we are. You don't need this effects track if you did have that. So here we are. We got a waveform, and as you can see, it's not super big. There's enough headroom, right? If your waveform is really huge, you're going to want to go back and do some of that gain staging. Just turn everything down a little bit with the gain, not so much with the faders, but with the gain, right? So here we are. I got one track all mixed together. Sounds all right. So again, we're gonna go, and I'm just gonna show you the way to do it with the native stuff in GarageBand, so that anyone who doesn't have third-party plugins will be able to do this. And then I'll show you another way after with a few inexpensive plugins that you can get. So first thing is, yes, you have to activate one thing just in case. So click here, go into Settings, right? Find GarageBand, wherever that might be. Probably just passed it. There it is. Okay, GarageBand. And you're going to want to enable iOS effect plugins. So make sure that's clicked. All right. So once that's clicked, you can get back into GarageBand. And what it's going to do is it's going to give you this cool limiter. So edit, plus, and it's not in the normal ones. I don't know why, but it's going to be down here. And you're going to see all these ones from Apple. It gives you a bunch of stuff. I haven't tried everything, but the main thing here it gives you is this AU peak limiter, right? So activate that, and it looks like this.
Just resonating by free style, free smile.
So it's pretty basic, as you can see. But what we want to do is make sure that this is at. You grab these three little lines here and take this to the end of the chain, right? So we don't need this effect EQ. And we're going to take this visual EQ and we're going to put that before the compressor. So if your mix is decent, then that's pretty much all you're going to need to do. And just activate the compressor. In a master situation, is you don't want the ratio to be very high. So I take it down to like 1.5, bring the threshold up a little bit. So just, you can play around with the settings in there. Light compression, unfortunately it doesn't have any visual feedback, which you're just gonna have to listen, just use your ears to get the compressor settings dialed in. But if just basic here, and you can use the gain here also. I probably personally would just leave this limiter at maybe something like 1 or 2, and just use the gain here on this compressor to give it some because that way the compressor will be doing a lot of the work, and then the limiter can stay kind of clean. And then with the EQ, you just play around. This EQ is not as precise as I'd like it to be, but you can definitely get good results out of it. Just if you're doing just real slight cuts, you can just do a little quick little. Your mix, you should have done a lot of that kind of stuff in the mix. So this is just kind of just brightening. Usually you just want to add a little brightness, take out a little mud. The mud tends to be like right here, just a tiny bit. Make sure your bass isn't. So yeah, so that's how you do it if you're just going to use like the default stuff in GarageBand, which everyone should have. Now, if you have a bit of time to invest, maybe a little bit of money, what you can do is I'll just deactivate all that stuff. As you can grab a couple cool plugins and go to the audio unit. These are all AUV3s, and what I got this, I believe, for free. Pretty sure. I think it's maybe $5 or $6 now. And this is a brick wall limiter. Jacks make louder, and I like this limiter. It seems to be a little more analog than the AU peak limiter. And so I don't really mess with it too much. I like this green tube. It has like some nice kind of like harmonic distortion or something like that. Red Tube seems to be a little more harder sounding. So if you needed some harder sounds, there you go. It has some cool features. There's probably better limiters, but I haven't really felt like I needed anything else than this. So I'm happy with this, and I think I think I got it for free, but I think it's only $5 or $6. So another one that I like to add, and I'm pretty sure this is free. At the time of the filming of this video, I'm pretty sure this is free. Mixbox, IK Multimedia Mixbox. And what this is, and make sure you have it before the limiter. Now what this is it's like a suite of a ton of effects. So it gives you this rack here, but they give you a few for free. I'm not sure how many, like 5 or 6, but what it has is this really cool channel strip. And what's really nice about it has this air frequency, if you can see that down here, this one down here, and it has a little airband, kind of like a mag EQ, and it has this compressor part here with some gain. So turn down the compression a little bit, and yeah, this is pretty cool, as you can. So to my ears, what it does is just kind of brightens things up, kind of polishes it a little bit, makes it a little punchier, adds this little airband. So pretty cool. For free, if it's still free, I hope it is. And so with that, and then what I like to do is add, now this next one I think was about $14, but totally worth it. Probably one of the best $14 I ever spent on the App Store. So this is the TB Equalizer, and I know that Pro Q is available also, but this thing is nice. So what it has is it has this dynamic template. If you go into the presets, so yeah, it has this dynamic EQ in it, which is amazing. And if y'all know about dynamic EQs, it's kind of a cross between an EQ and a multi-band compressor. So really cool plugin. I can see I have a little bit too much bass, so I can use this dynamic EQ to kind of tame my bass, but also bring up some of the highs when needed. Yeah, watch tutorial about dynamic EQ. This one is really good, and it seems to run really clean, and it's not CPU intensive or anything. So that's TB Equalizer. You can look at that again. Really awesome that this is available on iOS. It seems to just work really smoothly. I haven't used the Pro Q. If you have that, you don't need this, but I'd probably pick this over since it's half the price. I think it's like 14. But anyways, really nice. Another thing I'll show you guys real quick before I go is, since we're talking about mastering, there's this company, Red Rock Studios, I think. Let's see, let me find them again. RRS, Red Rock Sound, sorry. And they have some cool stuff. They have this compressor. Obviously, always make sure everything is before. And put it there. You don't want anything after the master. I think I said that enough times. So yeah, they have this cool analog compressor.
Just resonating by free style, free smile.
So yeah, this is pretty cool. It's got oversampling. Red Rock Studios, they have another thing that I really like. So let's take something off of here. I guess I'll take off the compressor. Last thing I'll show y'all, RRS, where you at? This guy. And these are like $5 each, I'm pretty sure, and they have a demo. And this one, so this is a similar concept as that channel strip I showed you. Just has a little more easier interface to use. And there's an airband. So this is basically like a Mag EQ, if y'all are familiar with that. And so it has this airband, and you can choose, it's a 10,000, so that'll add a lot of brightness. So basically this will just add some high-end sheen, as they like to say, some high-end shine. It's got mid-side, looks like. So pretty cool little EQ. It looks cool, and these kind of EQs I like because they force you to use your ears more. So yeah, and I guess if you bought all of these and then you got the Mixbox is free, so it'd be 10, 24, maybe like $30, and you'd have a pretty professional little setup, in my opinion, for mixing your tracks in GarageBand or other iOS DAWs. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Obviously, if you're using Logic or something, it's more ideal. But for people that are just like mixing on planes and traveling around, I think you can get some really good results with just your iPad or even your iPhone. I guess it's just if you have a good enough iPad or a good enough iPhone. This is, like I said, a 2017 iPad Pro, and it's working good. I know the newest base level, what is it, the 9th generation iPad also is similar spec to this one, and it works really good. So yeah, so when you're done and you get mix sounding nice, we'll just say that's I don't like my things too squashed, but I could probably give it some more gain, but I don't want to blow you guys out. So anyways, when you want to bounce this out, you just click over here in the left corner, saving, and then you just hold it down, share, song, and just make sure I choose this uncompressed wave 44/24-bit. But the wave is more universal, so I just use wave. And you can bounce it out a few times and have different versions. So just share it. What I like to do is, where's my options here? Oh, it's not giving me the option. Well, that's funny. Let's see. Alright, well, we'll just go share to files. Sometimes it gives you the option for audio share. Okay, there we go. So here's audio share. So we're just save in audio share. Save. And now when I open up audio share, it'll give me this file here. And I don't know why it gives you such a, whatever, but here it is, right there. So this is what it looks like. So there you go. It's looking pretty good. You can tell that the limiter caught a few peaks there, but it's a pretty good looking wave file. I'm happy with that. And yeah, if you do bounce it into audio share, it makes kind of like this folder. Mine is called Lviv to Phoenix because I was flying from Lviv to Phoenix when I made it. So yeah, and it's just in the output. And then you can just hold that down and move it. So if you're familiar with audio share, it's a cool app. It's like a really good place to kind of store all your music. So here you go, and then now you have it right there, and you can share it again to whoever you want. So yeah, there you go. I hope that helped. Hope you learned something, and yeah, make groovy music, have fun, don't worry about what other people think, just have a good time. And now you know how to master in GarageBand. Alright y'all, peace.